we've mapped the idea of the difference in space between the known and the unknown to the difference in time between a place that works now and a place that no longer works, even though it's the same place. It's the same thing, it's just extended across time. All right, and so that's order versus chaos, and that's the chaos that can manifest itself within the order, the thing that's represented in the yin and yang symbol, right? Because you see the black paisley with the white dot in it and the white paisley with the black dot in it. Order can turn into chaos at a moment's notice, and in the same way chaos can turn to order in a moment's notice, at a moment's notice. And so we're trying to map the geography onto something that's more abstract and comprehensive, and we do that using conceptual schemes that we evolved over vast spans of time and have just moved up one level of abstraction. Known territory, or what's explored. Unknown territory, or what's not explored. The transformation or the dissolution of one into the other, and then the reconstitution of that. That's what an election does, right? It's like, okay, we have our leader, who's the person at the top of the dominance hierarchy and defines the nature of this particular structure. There's an election. It's regulated chaos. No one knows what's going to happen. It's the death of the old king. Bang, we go into a chaotic state. Everyone argues for a while. And then out of that argument, they produce a consensus, and poof, we're in a new state. Right? That's the meta story, right? Order, chaos, order. But it's partial order, chaos, reconstituted and revivified order. That's the thing, is that this order is better than that order. So there's progress. And that's partly why I think the idea of moral relativism is wrong. There's progress in moral order. And it was defined properly by Piaget. The new moral order does everything the old moral order did, and some additional things. That's what constitutes progress. Now, here's a strange idea, and we'll talk about this more as we progress through the class. What's the ultimate in order? Well, it's not this, obviously, because it can collapse. And it's not this, because it can collapse. And so then you think, well, there's no ultimate order, even though there's progression. But then you have to move it up one level of abstraction. What's the ultimate order? Doing this. Willingness to do that. That's the ultimate order. Right? It's order at a different level of analysis, and you can see that's what's represented in that idea. That's what that idea means. That's the phoenix, right? The phoenix is something that lives, ages, and then allows itself to be consumed by fire, and then re-emerges. And the old phoenix gets old and burns, and the new phoenix re-emerges. And so the real phoenix is the thing that's constant across those transformations. That's the Jungian self. That's what he meant. The self is the element of the psyche that remains intact across transformations. Yeah. Yeah, it's a bloody amazing idea. That's for sure. And you could think about that. That's why Jung claimed, for example, in Ion, primarily, that Christ was a symbol of the self. That was his consequence of decades of meditation on the structure of Christianity. Because it's the dying and resurrecting part of the psyche that remains constant across the transformation. So the ultimate order isn't to identify with this. That's your current state of being. And it isn't to identify with that because, well, you can't by definition. And it isn't even to identify with that. It's to let these things go as they need to go. That's a sacrifice. And to allow this continual process of transformation to occur. And part of that is the admission that you're wrong. And so partly what you're doing is, at micro levels and at macro levels, where are you not what you could be? And when you realize that, it'll take you apart a little bit and burn you down to your core a little bit, and then allow you to regenerate. And if you do that continually, then everything that you don't need burns away. Right?